Hey everyone, thank you again for tuning in to the next episode of the Noor Podcast. Today we have some really great guests. This is Isaac. I went to high school with him. One of my really, really good friends.
Yeah.
Excited to catch up and see what you've been up to for like the last 6 years.
Six is crazy, bro.
I know, insane.
Yeah.
And then this is Isaac's friends, Martin and Eric. So Isaac, obviously it's been 6 years since high school. How you been?
Bro, trust, I see, not like 6 years since I've seen him.
No,
we
we've caught up once in a while.
Bro, man, life outside of high school is interesting. It's interesting.
Well, actually, they don't know where I went to high school or anything or how I grew up. So why don't you talk a bit about what was life? What did you do for the last 6 years? How was high school? Where did you go? What did you study?
Bro, trust. High school, I went to the Australian Science and Mathematics School with my boy Vision.
Smart guy.
Nah, shut up, bro. You were there too, man. Like, he's just, bro, you guys don't understand. Vision's too smart.
Like, straight A is just normal.
Like normal, bro. But then it's like, if you have like, let's say you have smart people in a normal school, you go there and then you find real smart people and then you're just like,
the real geniuses.
The real geniuses, like 16-year-olds, done like everything. The caviars and them ones, right? Trust. This girl, genius. But still, and then like after high school, coming to Adelaide Uni, studying science and entrepreneurship, major in biochem. So it's like, it was all right. But uni at the same was like school, you know what I mean? And it became more so like, you just go into the classes, do what you got to do, and then dip. Well, that's what it was for me, and because I just want to get in and out, get to real life stuff. And that led me down like this entrepreneurial journey I've been going down and like, tapped into fashion, creative projects. Where did it start? Oh, like trust. In high school, in year 11, we had this little competition at school and it was just like who could make like the coolest t-shirt brand. And it was like me.
Really? I was there. I don't remember that.
Oh, trust. Now this was like different though, because it's like me, Clinto, Andre, and Rithik. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like even though we still had anyone, thing, like not a project, But so we had that little competition, and then it's like me and Rithik were one team, and then Clinto and Andre were the other team, and we're literally like printing t-shirts.
So Isaac. Yeah. Obviously. It's been 6 years since high school. How you been?
Bro, trust, I see, not like 6 years since I've seen him.
No, we've caught up once in a while.
Bro, man, life outside of high school is interesting. It's interesting.
Well, actually, they don't know where I went to high school or anything or how I grew up. So why don't you talk a bit about what was life? What did you do for the last 6 years? How was high school? Where did you go? What did you study?
Bro, trust. High school, I went to the Australian Science and Mathematics School with my boy Vision.
Smart guy.
Nah, shut up, bro. You were there too, man. Like, he's just, bro, you guys don't understand. Vision's too smart.
Like, straight A is just normal.
Like normal, bro. But then it's like, if you have like, let's say you have smart people in a normal school, you go there and then you find real smart people and then you're just like,
the real geniuses.
The real geniuses, like 16-year-olds, done like everything. The caviars and them ones, right? Trust. This girl, genius. But still, and then like after high school, coming to Adelaide Uni, studying science and entrepreneurship, major in biochem. So it's like, it was all right. But uni at the same was like school, you know what I mean? And it became more so like, you just go into the classes, do what you got to do, and then dip. Well, that's what it was for me, and because I just want to get in and out, get to real life stuff. And that led me down like this entrepreneurial journey I've been going down and like, tapped into fashion, creative projects. Where did it start? Oh, like trust. In high school, in year 11, we had this little competition at school and it was just like who could make like the coolest t-shirt brand. And it was like me.
Really? I was there. I don't remember that.
Oh, trust. Now this was like different though, because it's like me, Clinto, Andre, and Rithik. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like even though we still had anyone, thing, like not a project, But so we had that little competition, and then it's like me and Rithik were one team, and then Clinto and Andre were the other team, and we're literally like printing t-shirts in the the printer room, you know what I mean? Like we brought the iron, steaming it on the shirts. Yeah, man, it was pretty sick.
You guys print shirts?
Yeah, literally, bro. Like it was.
You still have it?
Nah. But then that's kind of where it's like, oh damn, you can just create your own thing and go ahead. And we also did have like this innovation project in school where we did like the little fair. Remember the little fair, and everyone had to like create an idea and then you like present your idea, man. And I loved it. I felt like that was so good. I made like a soccer tee that like you couldn't sweat on the tee. Yeah, so it's you could. It was like so breathable that
and it actually
just
worked?
goes out. Huh? No, it was like more like theoretical. Like, you didn't actually have to.
Oh, we actually made the shirt.
Yeah.
I was like,
But like, no, trust bro.
yeah, literally, I was like, what money did you have, bro?
Nah, but that whole experience, man, it feels so good. Like you create an idea and then you present it to people who would essentially invest in your idea, and they had like strangers come to the school and you would talk to them.
Because I remember we did that too in school, but it was just presenting it to the class.
Yeah, no, but this was like real people. It was pretty cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It was,
and then,
it was the school. I think the
inventions.
school set us up well. Like they really try to push that stuff. Remember when some entrepreneurs came in as well?
Yeah, literally, and then they taught like all that
about
stuff.
The gyms and stuff. Do you remember?
Yeah, imagine
really
like Gymshark before Gymshark becomes Gymshark, and they come to your school and they talk to you. So it's like, wow, you know what I mean? So those little things, you just kept building up, and I was like, I remember there was this one moment, where it's like, you're thinking of what careers to go into and everything, and then you search like, okay, what obviously makes the best money or whatever. So then you start seeing it, and then you get to this point where you see everything is capped, and you're like, damn, like, so if I stay in this job even like after 10 years, this is gonna be my salary. It's already done. And then so I think I had the thought, it's just like who paying these people, you know? And then you go down the line, and you figure out it's like these investment firms, and then the people who own the investment firms, they're like, there's no cap at all, man. These people can make however much they want to make doing whatever they want to do. And if you're someone who has like a lot of different interests like me, but you're actually passionate about each interest, you want to be able to dive into it. And then I feel like that's where, you know, the heart of like entrepreneurship or innovation comes from. And then you can go into whatever you want to go into and then develop it how you want to develop it. Obviously while making a profit, but also making a difference. And then that led me to like the stuff that I'm doing now. But
we'll touch on that in a second.
Yeah, later still.
So Martin, what about yourself?
Me?
Yes. So just for context, I know Isaac very well, but I don't know any of you. So it's just fresh. Tell us,
what do you want to know?
How'd you grow up? What did you study? Did you study at all? What do you do?
Oh, no, I didn't really like school. I wasn't like you guys. I hated school to the core. No, like year 9, year 10, it was lit because like just fairy tales and like you didn't even have to like pass or anything. So, but then when it came to year 11, I was like, damn, I actually have to, you know, get serious. Like year 12, I almost got kicked out and everything. I never went to school. Like,
Damn.
There was once where one of like the senior leaders in the school was like, if you don't come to school tomorrow, like we might have to talk to your parents about you not coming to school and stuff. Damn. And my dad would always see the messages and stuff of like me not going to school.
So wait, did your parents think you were going to school?
No, they'll see me at home all the time, and I'll be like, I'm just doing work.
Oh, you weren't out. You just at home.
Yeah, I was just at home. Like I'll just be chilling at home watching Netflix and stuff instead of going to school. Yeah. Like I hated school. Yeah. In year 11 and 12.
Yeah. So what did you do after that? How old are you, by the way?
20.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Fair enough. So difference between them. Okay. So not 6 years, more like 3 years. 3 years out of high school?
Yeah.
3 years, yeah.
So what are you doing until now?
I was just trying different stuff, to be honest. Like when I wasn't going to school and stuff, like I did everything. Even if you ask my brothers, it would be like, Martin has tried everything. Like I used to cut hair and stuff. I was trash at cutting hair all my days. But there was once where I did my brother, like I did a good haircut, and that was like, I never did a good haircut ever again. I used to cut hair. I used to be a painter. I used to like paint construction buildings and stuff. Yeah. I used to do everything. Yeah. I used to like, what I do right now, like I'm an editor and like videographer and stuff, but I used to hate editing. Like I used to hate the part when I used to sit down and like edit and stuff.
Are you on staff at the church?
I'm on staff at the church.
Nice.
Are you on staff as well?
No, I'm not.
Oh, true.
No. Wait, are you Christian?
Yeah. I go to church.
Oh, church. Yeah.
No, that's so good. Okay, so that's what you're up to now.
Yeah, now I love editing and stuff.
And I know that you guys are working together as well. Yeah. But let's touch on that in a second before we'll go to Eric. What about yourself?
What is that? No, but for me it's the same. It's in terms of school, it's like Martin, I didn't really take it serious or like from year 8 to maybe like year 10-ish. It was more so just like bare minimum, just doing the bare minimum C's, just passing by. But then by the time you get to like 11, you got to do like research project, and then you got to start thinking about, if I want to do this out of high school, I got to get this kind of grade. And so at that point, I kind of started like picking my subject a bit more strategically, strategically.
That's right. No, good.
Strategically,
Yeah.
I started thinking about where I want to take this and take that, and I ended up doing law in high school afterwards. So in doing that, I thought it was something I wanted to do, because I watched a lot of law movies like Suits, and like,
That's how everyone
like you wanted to make suits and stuff.
Yeah,
actually?
honestly, I watched Suits. We used to watch it every summer. Like my brothers, it's like a family thing at that point. Like watch Suits, and then I watched Legally Blonde, and then the other one was A Few Good Men, stuff like that. It looks really nice in movies because the cut basically all the hard work out and it goes straight to you go to college.
That's right.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then
instant gratification.
yeah, pretty much. I did all of that, and it got to a point where I did a bit of. I was actually doing one of my assignments. I went to the magistrate court right here in the city, and I happened to meet someone who was actually related to one of my teachers at Flinders, and they were like, "Oh wow, that's your teacher, that's my sister." I was like, "That's wow."
So you study law?
Yeah. I was. I'm still in road though. That's the thing. We'll get there. We'll get there. And pretty much he was like, "I've got a firm here and there. Why don't you come down and see if you wanna, do some work experience?" And so I basically went. He took me under his wing. I did some of, I worked on some of the cases with him. Like I basically just tagged along, and I did some errands for him. He kind of like told me the ways of doing things. And I kind of, after a while, you kind of realize when you watch on TV and what you actually do in real life is not the same thing. The contrast is just it's night and day,
Yeah.
So, and at that point, because I like to travel a lot, I've traveled to quite a few places. And
where have you been?
I've been to Europe, mainly Paris, Switzerland, Italy, and recently last year in Dubai for my birthday. And so,
is that in Europe?
No,
I'm joking. Because you said Europe and then you named Vicky and then you said Dubai too.
I really do like seeing different places. So my goal was like, okay, maybe when I finish uni, I want to move to a place such as like Canada. I was thinking about Canada for quite a bit, but then it never really occurred to me that once you finish your law degree, you cannot use it anywhere besides the place that you actually studied. That's the worst thing about it. So
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah,
what the flip?
Sucks,
So you can't fly to Paris and just be a lawyer.
No, you can't. Because law is basically like a societal thing. Like it's based on where you live. Different people, different like.
Oh yeah, there are different laws everywhere. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I kind of didn't take that into consideration until like towards the end of my degree, and I was like, damn, I just wasted like almost 4 years of my life. But then also,
is that a waste? Did you learn anything from your law degree, you think?
I want to say it wasn't a waste because I feel like you take some essence of what you learn from that and apply it to other things in life. Just life skills in general, just like that comes with anything you learn in life. And I think I've taken some of those skills I've learned from the law degree and applied it to other things that I'm doing right now. And so I'm still in road, but I've completely said I'm going to cut it off. That I'm just there because I still want to kind of move somewhere overseas and kind of like do something else. So I've kind of started diving into data analysis because my brother also does that and he's also an engineer as well. So it's like, do that, you might travel, you can still work anywhere else because math is a universal language, so it's computer science, stuff like that. So I've kind of taken that route as well. And then meeting these guys, I mean, I've known them for a while, but we didn't really hang outside of like the cafe stuff like soccer and stuff like that. So now I've kind of tapped into fashion as well, alongside them with their work and his camera stuff, filming as well, stuff like that.
Amazing.
And so
he's actually in a Fringe show coming up as well, but we'll tap into this Sunday. If you're not busy, come through, man. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, man. Like,
jump right into that as well. Right?
Yeah.
You know, explain that?
Right now?
No. Okay,
like
so
later.
I have a question before. Let's just jump into that a second. Do you regret not trying in high school?
No.
No?
Because academics, I know they're not for me. Because they're not for everyone, and I know that's one thing that's not for me. I don't regret.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually happy I didn't actually, like...
Do it.
Yeah.
That's good.
True.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think I know Isaac, what I said, I didn't want to interrupt him, but I hated high school as well.
Yeah.
I wasn't the smart one. My grades were mediocre.
This guy's capping, bro. You know what I mean, bro? Like,
I work with like actual geniuses. I'm really
that's what I say. When you get to uni, you meet some different levels.
Different levels.
Correct.
Especially in engineering as well.
Yeah.
Because you guys, the exams are not normal.
Crazy. But like my skill's always been communication, and so like
true.
that's kind of what I've been trying to lean into with the context of engineering. Like I want to be able to understand the engineering and then explain it to you as if you're a normal person, and that like dumbing it down. But that's not actually, because a lot of the project managers and a lot of the clients you speak to don't understand engineering. So you need to be able to dumb it down.
But they have the funds to,
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know
to
what
make
I mean?
your projects come to life.
I totally get it. Like,
for sure.
So don't mind the continuity, but we have suddenly a new person appearing here.
Yeah.
Do you want? So we just started before and talked a little bit about. I don't even know your name. Nandini, nice to meet you. That's so funny because that's not what they said.
I know they butchered my name. It's your own friends, man.
Nandini.
Your own friends who don't know how to say my name.
Well, we just talked a little bit about kind of, how old are you?
I'm 19.
19, okay.
Yeah.
Only 1 year. So we're talking about what you guys did out of high school.
Yeah.
But you're like pretty much just out of high school.
Yeah.
So what did you start, like how was high school experience for you? Are you studying? What are you doing right now? And then we're about to talk about you guys' Fringe show. So yeah. So why don't you tell us a bit about yourself first, and then we'll jump right into that.
Okay. My name is Nandini Rajagopal. I am an Indian living in Australia. I would label myself as a creative. Well, I feel like I've always been a creative, but yeah, I kind of go through like phases of how I'm expressing that at certain times. So sometimes, well, right now, I'd say poetry, fashion, and acting would be like my main in this phase of life. But yeah, like I draw and I paint and I dance and I sing and stuff. High school was, it was interesting.
Okay.
Not my favorite time in life. I feel like out of high school was when I really like found myself and am happy with how it's going.
And how did you do that?
How did I do that? Through expressing my creativity, I would say. And in that, I feel like it's kind of interchangeable. I feel like your life and your own growth mentally, physically, and spiritually does also connect to your creativity. And I feel like the more I kind of was in tune with figuring out who I am, like art helped that and that helped art in a sense.
Wow.
I don't know how to.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I don't know if I articulated that quite that
that's
well,
fine.
but
were you always were you always very creative? And
yeah, I feel like when I was younger, I feel like creativity was kind of my way of like finding solace in myself because I didn't have a lot of friends in a way. Like we were actually talking about this the other day. I used to climb trees a lot. And that's actually how I know it's no. I used to climb trees a lot when I was younger. And this one day I took a book up with me and I just started drawing. I drew an eye. Like everyone starts
she's
with
really
an
good
eye.
with she's really good at eyes, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen it.
And from there it was just kind of like, I don't know, when I used to get upset, I used to climb trees and draw. And that was like how I
Did you feel that the education system failed you in being able to, like, you know that saying, don't judge a fish by how it climbs a tree? No pun intended. But did you feel like the education system kind of let you down in not being able to show who you were and develop the skills that got you ready for life? Because it's not really for everyone, right?
Yeah, I feel like for sure. I feel like there was definitely like, I feel like nowadays there's you can do art, but here's like science and math, which is like way better and is going to get you way further in life. Like there was kind of that sort of push for like, what do you want to do? Like, something like creative. Like at the time it was acting. I was like, I want to be an actor. And they're like, that's cool. Like, and like picking year 12 subjects and stuff like that. Like they were kind of not very, I guess, serious about as serious as I was on the fact that like I knew I wanted to be a creative. And I guess I would say a lot of that kind of pushed me into putting my creativity into like the box of like a hobby that I feel like a lot of creatives kind of go through that where it's kind of like, it's just a hobby, like before you really
maybe until they get validation from
others. For sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like high school definitely kind of put it as like, okay, that's a hobby, but what are you gonna do to earn money for the rest of your life? And like actually
it's like if you're picking subjects and you had art in there and you had to drop one straight away, they'll be like, drop the art one. Like, you know what I mean? Like drop the art or the music or whatever. Like I've never heard someone their 4 main subjects is like art, music.
I've actually seen a few people.
Well,
whatever.
That's interesting because so obviously the work I do with DEXA, I'm trying to push STEM in high schools and engineering, and especially trying to make sure girls have an equal opportunity to have a say in that and do that
Yeah.
as guys do. And what we're finding is a lot of like these really rich private schools,
Yeah.
like they're often referred to as ATAR schools,
Yeah.
and they try to get people ready with a really high ATAR
Yeah.
to go into med and law,
Yeah.
right? And the two things med and law have are no prerequisites,
Yeah.
right? So what these teachers will do is they'll often push subjects like art,
Dead ass.
yeah, because it's easier
Yeah. To
to
get
do get a higher score,
Yeah.
in those which will push your like ATAR up.
Yeah.
Whereas like maths and physics are really hard to get like an A+. You have to be a very, very high student. And yes, you get bonus points, but it still outweighs like the chance of you doing that well.
Yeah.
So they'll do like English lit, history, like all these like subjects,
fair.
because again, no prerequisites, right?
Yeah.
They like med and law, they'll teach you everything from uni.
Yeah.
All they care about is a high ATAR.
Yeah.
I feel like, sorry.
Yeah.
The amount of
but-
kids that knew that, like, if they know that now, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be a doctor. Let me take year 12. Let me just do the easy subjects, get the extremely high ATAR, then go do med.
Correct.
That's
I
crazy.
feel like in saying that though, I feel like the arts is like art and music and things like that. It's still like it's looked down upon in a sense. Like even if it's pushed, it's like it kind of
for
sucks.
the right reasons.
Yeah, it kind
Yeah.
of sucks that it's kind of like, oh, like these aren't serious subjects. Like we have to do it for the diversity of this and that. And it's like even like when I used to go to like year 12 awards ceremonies and stuff, like the awards that there are for like highest this in maths or this and that, it's like you don't get a lot of like recognition for doing well in art. I feel like in
Do you
schools,
think that's
like
because
you can
art
have
is
like
subjective?
Shit, true.
I don't know.
It's easy to
personally,
judge someone that does well in physics or maths because it's
Yeah.
not subjective.
I feel like
It's-
judging and recognition, I feel like are two different things. I feel like, okay, maybe I didn't use the right, I guess grading, like the grading system, okay, maybe that's not the right way. But like, I feel like recognition in general, like even art exhibitions and stuff in school and stuff, like no one, they have it in the corner of the library somewhere where like, and it's like they don't even put the kids' names up there or what the whole like point of them doing that artwork is. It's like, it's just like, they have it next to the reception kids' hand painting stuff.
Yeah.
Like, like
Yeah.
I feel like the
fair.
recognition of like, although like I do definitely agree, it's really hard to do maths and English and be like a book smart person. I feel like the talent it takes to be a creative is also like not everyone can do it
That's what I was going to say.
in a sense.
Like,
Like
that's easy for me, the book smart. But
yeah,
I could never do creative.
exactly.
Like,
Whereas I
that's
feel like there's a lot
terrifyingly
of
hard for me.
recognition for the
Like,
people that are very smart. There's a lot of recognition out there for people that are like, like I got ducks and this and that. Like there's I don't know. I feel like
It's
especially
interesting.
in ethnic communities as well.
Yeah.
Like my brother is a ducks of his year level studying medicine right now. It's
Wow.
like definitely seeing the difference in
Yeah.
even our schools, the way that he was I guess treated for doing well in that versus
Damn. That's really interesting. Look, it sounds like you're about to burst with creativity in what you're doing now, and like the way you're speaking sounds like you've like escaped a prison, and you're like, all right, I'm ready for the world.
Yeah.
But leading into that, so just before you joined, we were talking about the Fringe show that you guys have coming up. So
Yeah.
maybe you could tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah. So the Fringe show, like I said, like it started off as a kind of like collective project. Space happening at Northern Sound Systems up in the north, and there is this lady Delia, and then this guy Nick.
Legend.
Yeah, like Delia is like basically I want to say like instructor, but whatever cool word for instructor you can just slip in there. But and she like runs the space and helps us like develop our skills and everything. And Nick is more like behind the scenes setting up with like council and like making it official. And like so now it's grown into this Fringe show, and it's like touching on like culturally sensitive topics, like intergenerational like traumas, and like how different families react to different situations with
Wow,
like
that's deep.
yeah man, it is, like people's relationships with their parents, brothers, sisters, their friends, because it revolves around like a funeral of a creative person that like has passed away. And like all these people come together and they're really just like sharing their experience with the person who's
You
passed.
just gave away the whole show and I'm not coming.
Huh? Yeah,
No, but you have to
it's
watch
more-
it to
you
know,
watch it,
yeah.
you gotta feel it, bro.
It's about-
you just said the
about-
whole
Yeah.
thing. I was like,
Nah, but like, bro, trust, it's in the
also,
bio
like the
as
little
well.
bit.
it also
Yeah.
touches on mental health
Yeah,
in ethnic.
in
communities.
ethnic families as well.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really
I've
powerful.
seen it's getting like that whole, but it's always tough to say. I was gonna say I've seen it's getting more exposure now, like
Yeah.
especially specifically in ethnic families.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that could just be the algorithm and what I see. So I genuinely can't tell. But
Yeah.
for me, I'm seeing more and more
Yeah.
like, you know, trauma.
Yeah.
Coming from the past. I'm like, I see a video like making fun of like an actual thing that happened. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's funny. We all went through it.
Damn. Literally, but that's what it
Small
is, bro.
kid.
Yeah.
But what's
Yeah.
happening in the actual moment is like, hey,
Yeah.
it's not it.
Yeah, I would say like I feel like the next generation of like ethnic parents are gonna be a lot better than the ones that just passed because of these conversations that are happening now and how it's being like pushed out. Like we're obviously all gonna be better parents than, but I'm not saying our parents are bad. They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah, mom, dad, love you. But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
I would be able to connect to my kid more than like
Understand it.
my parents'
Understand it.
relationship now.
That's so
Yeah,
interesting. well,
that's
you know
like-
that there's a lot of data that's come out that's saying that Gen Z, which is us, yes, that's right. Gen Z is having the strongest marriages of all time in human history.
The strongest.
Yeah, lowest divorce rate.
Yeah.
And it's two reasons. It's
Yeah.
because we are also the generation that's getting married the least out of everyone. But what we're finding is that if you are choosing to get married,
Yeah.
you will stay together because there's no longer any pressure to get married.
Yeah.
And so for you to be able to make that choice,
Yeah.
it means that you're with someone that you want to do that with. And there's like no one's telling you have to, there's no pressure. And
Yeah.
and then if you make that step and you know, cross the line into marriage,
Yeah.
you stay there. And so like there's science that backs up your point that you made. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Super good.
Yeah. Look, that sounds really good. Do you want to say when the shows are? Like, when can we come watch this? Where is it going to be? Where
Every
can we watch
Sunday for the next month.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you guys performing?
At Northern Sound Systems.
Oh,
in
you're
the
at-
north.
at the
yeah.
studio you're performing.
Yeah.
Oh, so
but
good.
it's only a 20-minute train ride. Like, you know, come watch. It'll be a good experience. And yeah,
sounds
if you're
good.
ethnic, you know, you have to be there.
No, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Trust.
So awesome. Right. So that's the Fringe show. Now, what is it exactly that you guys are all collaborating outside of that? What is this company that you run? How do you express yourself creatively? Let's talk about it.
What is that, bro?
Yeah, normal. Yeah.
Getting
So,
ready.
all right. Nah. So for me, I have like, I have Phoenix, the clothing brand that I run with my brother Rithik, and it's this community that we're trying to build, and our clothes is just the representation of being part of that community. And that's like creative people from Adelaide and just anybody who's trying to take a step into, you know, that creative direction. Like, do what you want, wear what you want. And you know, if you're walking down the street and you see someone with a Phoenix top, you're like, oh, like, damn, that guy is like part of, you know, what I'm part of. And then you guys just share that bond. Like, you don't even have to talk or whatever, but you know, if you do like end up speaking to that person, you know, you could like just I don't know, step into like a different world and just like know that you're from the same city and you have the same goals and you want to push and you believe that this place would change, you know, a lot, because that's something I believe in. I feel like Adelaide's like the underdog of all the cities, but at the end we'll win, you know, like 5-10 years down the line.
What makes you
That
so
was cold.
confident?
What makes me so confident? The people, like the people, you know, like people like you, people here, you know, myself, like anyone. I feel like it's a snowball effect. Like every kid who's just like, you know what, like screw London or Europe or like America or whatever, I'm just going to do it here. And I feel like we always have a great amount of creatives that are coming, but then they choose to leave. And for me, that comes down
Why?
to, I feel like it's just obviously like job opportunities and, you know, the actual structures in place. But I also feel like the right people are trying to have those conversations and are having those conversations with governments and, you know, the structures in place to actually create the infrastructure that will grow the future generations of creatives. And that's where I feel like it's going. And I know, you know, in
Amazing.
5-10 years down the line.
Is that what you all work together with, Phoenix?
Oh, no. I wasn't finished.
Ah.
Yeah, there's Phoenix. And then there's Steelo. So
Both of these are current? Like,
yeah.
still going?
Yeah. So Steelo, and then Steelo is just like a group of like other lads that are not here. But yeah, Rithik, Morph, Shabani, Malik, myself, Abachu, and
Don't miss anyone.
yeah, nah, like when you name it like that, you always just like,
that's
yeah,
what I'm saying.
it's just like, it's so crazy. And
Is there anyone else?
nah.
So yeah, that's
and Double T, my cousin, yeah, too. Yeah. And yeah, so we've been doing like events, you know, just to like bring people together, whether it's like a creative event or whether it's just a party. And, you know, a bunch of people have met each other in these spaces. And, you know, I've met like Dini, Eric.
all through Steelo?
No, all through creative stuff.
Creative.
Yeah. And Shabani a lot as well. Shabani's very tapped into the creative
So
thing.
so
But,
what does Steelo do? It just
like we run creative projects, I guess, yeah, to bring the communities together. And yeah, so like this, like we really like, we're just friends, you know what I mean? Like there's no besties though, trust, but there's no like organization, you know what I mean? So like, but we just do things collectively and then like just work on projects together. And then I even have like my friend Sleeky, who's not here too, and yeah, he's a cool kid.
That's
man.
the kid.
Like,
That's the kid.
Behind camera guys.
and
though.
like, you know, this is what I mean by there's just like a bunch of younger people that are gonna
amazing.
come.
That's
And then-
so good. And I'll ask this to everyone. So it sounds like you've all been in the creative space. Isaac's been here for 6 years, so he's been here the longest. How have you seen? Obviously, that means that you guys have been around through COVID. How have you seen the creative space in Adelaide change over the last like half a decade? And where do you see like it going in the next 5-10 years? Like, have you seen growth?
You're asking everyone?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's my first?
You want to say that one?
Someone else start, bro.
Oh, crazy. Like, okay, so pretty much like, let's say the first year, you know, we did a Phoenix like brand launch, and that was, you know, like 5 years ago, and that was basically the only event that happened in that whole year where it was kind of like a big creative. And then so let's say the next year after that, you know, 3 more events happen, and then it's just not just us, it's like other brands as well. And then 4 or 5 years down the line, you're having like 20 plus creative events in 1 year.
Wow.
Real ones, shout out.
Yeah, like, you know, Bosco, like, yeah, Bosco too, yeah. Bosco, that's my guy, man. And he has a brand called Ruins, and it's like really focused on winning souls for God. Like, it's
Amazing.
a Christian brand.
I'm seeing it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, look. Yeah, Bosco,
Ruins
man.
everywhere.
Big ups. Yeah. But yeah, see, even same with Bosco, like he came to the Phoenix launch, and he's like, damn, my friend's doing this, like, how come let me start it? And he literally just started it, like, I don't know if it's the next day or the same night or whatever. And then like, look what it's going into. And like Ruins themselves, they have like, you know, 5 to 10 like pop-ups in a year. So now you have like Ruins 5 to 10, Steelo's 5 to 10, Curated's 5 to 10, Cargo's 5 to 10. Like, you know, it's all growing. And yeah, and like you can say like we've all met each other at least once at like one event.
Yeah.
And then it's like, hey bro, I want to do this, like let me do it. You know, like Eric is setting up a fashion show, like, you know, hey, how can I help? Get in. Like,
I feel
it's just like that.
also the connections and the
Yeah,
support
Bosco.
system is also like grown in a sense. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to go like
No.
this too.
They can hear. They can
Okay.
hear. That's to the mic.
No,
All
that's
good.
fine.
Leave it.
Yeah, I feel like the support systems have kind of grown from at least what I've seen. Obviously, I haven't been here like since the start. I was doing my own thing and then came into, I guess, this creative realm. But yeah, the support system's definitely grown. Like, we'll have, like you said, like if Curator's doing something, you'll see like the owners or people that are also collaborating in other projects come to these projects, even if they have nothing to do with them. But yeah, like that support system of kind of like, it's not just like creators doing their own thing, but also supporting other creators which are doing their own thing. So it's like that whole web of like you said, like meeting people through those stuff. Like, you know, you could meet a Phoenix person at a Ruins pop-up or something. Like, yeah, the support is like definitely grown from the beginning. And it's like, yeah, a lot of people know more about what everyone's doing through obviously like the use of social media more for like brands and stuff, which I feel like COVID definitely helped with, in the sense of like when everything was online. Yeah, it was like the only way to kind of get your brand like out there. But yeah, like starting from social media to then, you know, just having fun things to do in Adelaide and meeting people like in Adelaide that are doing these fun things.
Yeah. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about maybe, I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's called the scarcity versus abundance mindset. Have you heard of that before?
No, I've not. Explain, please.
I will explain. And I want your thoughts on this, because
scarcity versus abundance.
Oftentimes people use this analogy for money, but I think it can be translated into anything where something is seen as oversaturated. And when I look at the creative space, I'm not a creative, but if I was looking at it analytically from the outside, I would see the biggest block is that so many people are doing it. So from the outside, without doing further investigation, I would say that, you know, there's a million clothing brands, right? Like, what can I bring that's unique? And the abundance versus scarcity mindset is two ways that people think, right? So the way people usually describe it is, let's say you have a friend who made $100 million off like a company they sold, right? And what's the immediate thought that comes to your head? So not half, but some people think, wow, that's so rare. I wonder how he was able to get that. It's like, you know, I wonder what special connections he had. I wonder exactly what he did to do that. Like, it doesn't really happen very often. That's one way. That's the scarcity mindset. The abundance mindset is, wow, there's so much money out there. There's so many ways that people can make money. This is inspiring. Let me go do something, because there's clearly money there to tap into. I want to do that as well. Right? So the scarcity is saying, wow, that's rare. Good on them, but I'm never going to get there. Yeah. The abundance is saying, that's amazing. I see myself in your shoes, and I can get there as well. So in the creative space, so you can say the same thing. Like, if I see someone doing successful in a brand, I could go, wow, that's like really rare. Like, they were able to get one unique idea that someone else never known before, and knew the right people to be able to set that off. That's never going to happen to me, right? I'm never going to have that good of an idea. Or there's the abundance mindset, which is, you know, I see this brand and it's blown off. I know, and then if I do some further, if I reflect a bit more on that, I think a brand is more about an image, about the idea that it upholds. And Ruins is an example, like what you said, what it upholds. The word just makes people think about that, right? And you're not selling like an image, you're selling an idea. And I think I can do that as well. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, what do you think about that? Do you think there's enough room to grow still in the creative space?
I feel like,
or is it oversaturated?
What?
I feel like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I do agree, like, from a analytically speaking perspective. But I feel like creativity, the thing about the creative scene is, like, I feel like a lot of, although yes, the goal, let me not say the goal, but one of the goals is definitely like, okay, yeah, I want to like earn money from it, or I want to, you know, have this many sales, or this many people reach it, or stuff like that. But I feel like with creativity, it's like, I feel like I've definitely seen this. There's two types of people who are in the creative scene. There's the people that are in it for, I want to make these many bags through this idea of creativity, because that's my talent and something that I am passionate in. And I want to reach this certain goal of spreading this large or this. And there's other people that are like, creativity is them. It's like an expression or something that they are very passionate about, which, like, you know, like Patrick, for example, like, money was never the goal. Like, it's not about, okay, I want to reach this many sales, or like, I want to do better than that brand, or I want to be selling more shirts than this person. Like, it's more about, like, this is something that I really strongly believe in. And this is something that, like, in the mindset of kind of like, I want to change the world, or like, I want to, at least personally for me, even though, yes, I would like to earn money through creativity, in saying that, my main goal is, like, through my creativity, if I can affect one person's emotions in any way, like, for me, that means more. Like, genuinely speaking, that means way more to me than, like, money, in a sense, or like sense. From like getting one up someone else. Like, at the end of the day, obviously I want my family to win, even if someone else gets there before me. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Because I know that the journey I'm on, and I feel like a lot of creators are like this. I've had conversations with people that like, you know, maybe they're not doing so good in the money aspect of life, but they're like, I am absolutely happy in what I'm doing because it's like, I'm like being able to have someone express their emotions, or I'm able to like affect someone in a way through my creativity. So it's like, I guess it's just mindset in a way. Like it depends what you're trying to achieve through your creativity. Of like, when you say that like there's a lot of people doing it, it's like good because every creative person brings like something new to the table. Like, you know, it's not the
That was
same
my
numbers.
question. Are there still new ideas?
Yes, because no two human beings are like the exact same. And when you say art is subjective, someone putting something out there, like there could be people that, for example, view ruins and like one person could view the whole idea of ruins in one way and someone else could view it in a completely different way. And that's the beauty of it. And like if I was to go somewhere to like say an art exhibition and I get inspired to make my own art, everybody that enters that room and sees that art is affected by it in completely different ways. Someone could look at a painting and cry. Someone could look at a painting and be the happiest person in the world. So it's like, I guess that talent that art has to kind of evoke different emotions from everyone is what keeps it continuous. Like everyone is, even if people don't think it's original thoughts, with creativity, it's like, I don't think there's any, like you can't hit a point where it's like, okay, everything's being done.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's
Like-
totally fair. Which, yeah, everyone has their own lived experience. And,
Yeah.
and if art is an expression of your inner self, then
Yeah.
everyone's going to be different, right?
I think when you take that, like you said before, it's a bit saturated, but it's like the whole situation about functionality. Like you, for example, you can take this cup. While there's a lot of different cups, like every cup is meant to hold water. For example.
Sorry. No, see, I wasn't, and then you two started.
Nah, this
Yeah,
this
really.
also will tie
yeah,
into
really.
like the whole creativity scene of like what
what I was
expected
thinking
from
about.
Sure.
Yeah.
For example, if you have this cup, most cups are meant to hold water. But like if you innovate this in a way where you can hold it in a comfortable way, that's a new way of you can sell this cup. But while it's saturated out there, people make different cups, but it's always a cup at the end of the day holds water. It's about how you make it.
Yeah.
A great example is Virgil Abloh. He does mention the fact that he retakes things that's already been made and changes the 30% of it.
Wow.
The function and the looks of it is different. He adds his own identity to it. And if you really take into consideration, like a lot of things in the world is already been discovered, it's what you can tweak to it that changes people's lives. You know, it's like,
And I feel like that's what art is
Yeah.
at the end of the day, is taking inspirations
Yeah.
from life itself.
it's like if you take a
Adding your
random top, like the top is wearing right now, while a lot of people can make the same tops and just have a normal top, the functions can change if you change the way it breathes, the way if you're doing sports, the way you don't sweat underneath. Those are the things that would make the difference between his shirt and his shirt. While it looks the same, the functionality is different.
Yeah.
And I think when you create things, especially in the creative scene, it's while we say a lot of people do just print shirts, that when you look at that part, it's no longer just functionality, it's about how you view it. So things like identity, what your brand identifies as we talked about with runes. If you can't change the functionality of something, change the way it's seen, the outlook of it. And I think at that point, it's no longer about what can you use it for. It's more so about what does it stand for.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
interesting.
think creativity, like you said, it's a broad thing, subjective. Everybody's different. No one's the same. And when you take that into consideration, it's never going to be saturated enough to the point that you cannot make your own identity or your own self, your own something different. It's all about innovating.
I feel like another thing is that like art, genuine, at least from what I see it, like art isn't for everyone in a sense. Like the way I see it, like art is for people that like genuinely like want to deep certain things, or they want to look at something and feel something, or they, you know, like art is for people that like they like the small things, or they like, you know, the big picture, or they like, you know, it's not for people that kind of want to see the world in a plain way. Because like if you want to see the world in black and white, go ahead. But it's like art's going to be there regardless. It's like if you open your eyes and you see it, like if you see two different shirts and you're like, oh yeah, it's just two shirts with designs on them, versus like people that look at the two shirts and it's like, damn, like that, like the colors on that shirt are like so cool, but then like the writing on that one and the pictures on that one and the cut of that shirt, like I like how that one's slightly cropped, like how it would fit on my body. Like, you know, people that are kind of like that like looking into those things rather than like, even when you look at things like Uniqlo, for example, like why people buy Uniqlo shirts more than like say the average Target shirt, or why they buy a plain, you know, maybe it's like slightly more cropped than another shirt and they like that fit, they like that look. Or even if it's just like, you know, a lot of shirts have writing on them, but they like the specific way that one's, yeah. So it's like the way that people view things is not necessarily, it's not for everyone in a sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think you said something interesting there, which was there's a type of psychology called Adelaide psychology, and it says that you are not who you are who you want to be.
Yeah.
And so and art, I think art in a sense is something like coffee, for example, like black coffee or espresso, or let's say whiskey or wine. A lot of people don't like it straight away, but you just keep exposing yourself to it and then you can recognize it and see the differences. And you have to want to like it in the first place. I think art's like that. Like, it's very easy for you to ignore art. But if you want to appreciate art, you will change the way you think, and then you will start appreciating things and exposure in that way. I wanted to ask, how do creatives add value to the world and like to people?
I have something to say, but go ahead.
No, good.
I think they do it by digging into emotions mostly. Yeah, instead of just practicality, like reaching people's hearts.
Why does that add value to someone?
Because we're emotional human beings. Like,
yeah,
I feel like the world has, like, when you think about, like, you see a lot of drawings that talk about like the people, like all the people in suits and holding the briefcases and following that one path, and it's like, I guess we're in a world that's very like trying to make everything, I don't want to say less beautiful, but I feel like artists really bring out like the like natural beauty of the world without trying to like minimize it in a sense. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's kind of like, it's a little bit what he's saying. It's like the emotions of people. Like, I remember I wrote a poem that talks about like, in a world that's like full of judgment, like being accepted by like nature and art itself is like the biggest gift. Like, in a world that like everything is being judged, and in a sense art is being judged too, but it's like there will always be someone out there that likes your artwork, even if everyone thinks it's like the worst thing in the whole world. Whereas like there's the ability to do that, to bring the emotions and kind of force that difference from
for me, I kind of see it like, all right, let's say me and you are having a conversation. You make $100 million and you have to explain that conversation to me. That's one side. And then the other side, you've met the love of your life and you guys have gone down this crazy trip, like, and you get to this point where you're almost about to marry her. Yeah. Which conversation do you think when you come tell me, you're going to feel more emotion and deliver with more like, you know, you're going to bring out that passion, talk about how you're feeling more in that sense, and like, oh yeah, I made $100 million. You're not going to break down. Like, imagine if you're from the worst place to the worst place, right? You'll be like, damn, man, like my struggle was so crazy, man. And then I got here and I made $100 million, and that was it. But then when you start breaking down how you met this girl, how you communicated with her, and how you guys got to the point where now you're in love with her, you know, the emotion that you'll bring in, you'll feel like you're more alive. And I feel like when creatives are able to, you know, break down these emotions, whether it's in arts or the movies that they create or the songs that you hear, because bro, people listen to music every day, you know what I mean? It's like you could stay in a room and listen to music, and if that music speaks to you, then you will have no problem just doing that the whole day, you know. But then if you're going to work and you're clogging on, and then it's like, okay, now you're just working, you're alive but you're not living. And I feel like that's what that's what creatives do really well. I feel like it's just bringing those emotions to life and then creating either a space for someone to feel that emotion or that mental state, or, you know, delivering something that can give them that feeling. And then it gives value because it allows someone to experience what life is in the sense of like living, whether it's in like, you know, your dreams or like, you know, just how you're feeling. And I feel like that's where the value comes in.
It's almost like sometimes, obviously there's art in two ways, and there's creativity in two ways. When I think about it, there's like explicit creativity and art, which is like a painting, you know, that's a piece of art.
Yeah.
But there's also implicit ones. How is a wall curved? What pattern is slightly here?
Yeah.
Like, and like something you said, like the world is becoming less beautiful and more like minimalistic.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the explicit art's always going to be there in art gallery or whatever, but how just everyday things are around you, like you'll almost only appreciate it once it's gone.
Yeah.
Like you go into a very simple room and maybe it looks nice and clean, but you start going there every day for work for 5 days of your like week for like the whole year, and then you just kind of, it almost like brings you down.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to like, you know, an old like building with the history, and you see the architecture and you see the rooms and you're just in that space and you just feel different.
Yeah. You see how like even when you say the word feel, like it just hits you differently. So it's like really just comes down to the emotions and how.
I feel like also like things like poultry as well, like push you to find beauty in the smaller things. I feel like that's another thing. Like you were saying, like people could walk into a room and not be like, oh, you know, it's just a room. But I feel like, you know, they could hear a poem or hear a song or something like that could evoke a certain emotion in them. So when they walk into that room, for example, they see the way that the wall is curved that they didn't see before, or like they weren't paying attention to. I feel like art really like pushes the beauty of the smaller things and the bigger things and life in general. Like it kind of romanticizes life in a way that like makes it happier and brings out more emotions to feel.
I think that's really important. I think people will appreciate it subconsciously.
Yeah.
But I think more people need to appreciate it consciously. And
I think for me, in terms of the way it moves, it's moved the culture, like the world itself. Art, fashion itself, especially those two explicitly, have shaped what we have today, the world we have today in general. For one, I'll give you an example. What do you think about when you think of if someone said saggy pants, t-shirt, shoes, what would you think of a black person? Right? These are things that a lot of people don't really kind of think about when you kind of think about fashion or painting or art. For example, if you think about the way art was used to promote World War, to promote people to join in, the army, stuff like those are things. Propaganda is a big thing, and especially when it comes to like fashion and art, those two things go hand in hand in terms of like you said, evoking someone's emotion to kind of just get into that, and not just like fashion itself, like art as in painting, things like that. If you look like at a flag, for example, those are things that have been taken with a clear representation of what each color represents. For example, the Aboriginal flag, you can take for, you know, as an example, like the red or the black or any of those colors you see have a clear representation of what their culture means. And that is something you can just put on paper in colors and to tell you a whole story about someone's whole background and what like their whole culture, their life, what it really means for them, what the land means to them, you know? And I think when we say art is a movement, it truly is a movement. From back ages. You can look at art and say, you can look at art or fashion and say, this is what has shaped a lot of things that we have today. Whether we overlook it or not, these are things that has definitely shaped the way we view people, cultures, and the way we see the world around us. You know, like business wear as well. Those are things that has changed over time. But that is someone who actually at some point sat down and said, okay, this and this and this needs to match. This is something that looks like it's clean, something that's evoking a certain emotion when you come into an interview. Those are things that people truly sat down and said, that put together comes down to this. Those are things people don't think about fashion. They see as a side thing. Like fashion, who does fashion is not going to make you money, you know? But when you really think about it, that fashion has shaped the world in a big way. Ways that we kind of just don't think about every day. The way you wake up and choose to put on clothes a certain way will tell a story about you. The way you walk down the street will say a lot about you, but that's something that you think about every day. That's something that someone has put out there saying, if you wear a certain way, you have to do at a certain place.
Yeah.
Those are things,
There was a movie I recently watched, and in the movie, it's pretty much, I guess maybe the viewers might know what movie I'm talking about, but she's interviewing for like a magazine, a fashion magazine, and the lady who's the main editor of the magazine, she's like very, very well known, like walks the red carpet and everything, and she does not care about I know, because that's what it talks about. And she does not, the assistant does not care about fashion at all, but she needs this job in order to be an editor in another company she wants to be in, and she's wearing this blue sweater this one time, and she's like kind of shadowing the lady while she's in this meeting about like a runway that's coming up, and they're talking about like this color, and she holds up, the other assistant holds up two belts, and they, to someone's eyes, they look the exact same, and so the assistant who doesn't care about fashion, she starts giggling because she's like, and then the main lady, she turns around and she's like is something funny, and then she's like, oh, like you just hold up two belts and say like which one, and she points out that the blue that the assistant's wearing, the one who doesn't care about fashion, she gives a whole speech about like, you know, that blue that you're wearing right now used to only be exclusively, like back in the day, used to only be exclusively to this number of people, and she explains the whole history of that specific color. She's like, to you that's a blue sweater, but you don't understand, and she says the specific color of it. And I've done this to people before as well, like with painting. Obviously there's like 500 different colors of blue, and someone will be like, oh, that's red, and I'm like, no, that's crimson. But it's like, to people it's like, that is red, but it's like, to people who know or people who care, it's like that history of the color, or the things that color has been through, like for example, like it being on representing a specific war or representing a specific flag, like that specific like mixture of colors that has brought that one color, or that specific piece of clothing that 100 years ago you wouldn't have even been allowed to wear, and now it's just, you thrifted it in the, like, you know, and you just wear it in your closet as like, you know, and you don't realize that the history that you're wearing, the journeys that's been on, the, like, you know,
that's
like
such an
that.
interesting perspective. I've never heard it
The
before
Devil
about
Wears Prada,
color.
guys, if you know what
That's the
I mean.
movie, if you guys want to watch it.
I've never heard,
But
I've heard it. I've never seen it, but
but just that kind of like
Wow.
reminds me of like, so things like that, like fashion evokes those conversations, art evokes those conversations into deeping life more than, I guess nowadays everyone's just like, oh yeah, like surface level, whereas I think art kind of forces people to go deeper, and whether it's within yourself or deeper in conversations with other people, or like deeper in understanding community, understanding how the world works, understanding history, understanding, you know, like things like that. Like I feel like fashion definitely, like I was saying, like brings out the beauty in the world that other people, or like majority of people subconsciously but don't consciously see. And art kind of like forces people to consciously look at it. And
that kind of leads me into my next question, which was how has and it's for all of you, how has, obviously you've talked about what kind of value art and creativity like brings to other people, right? And I think I've got like two questions in my head left. So this is my second to last one, which was, how has actually creativity added value in your own life? What have you been able to express through creativity that it's like a self-realization? What's been a eureka moment for yourself, which you've only been able to get through creativity?
You know what's crazy? This is exclusive. What we say.
Exclusive. You're getting exclusive content on Erick.
The only reason I just thought about this is this. The brand I'm coming up with is going to be called Eureka.
Wow.
And the model is going to be a moment of like realization in one's ability to actualize. And I think my point of the brand is to kind of self-express what you believe fashion can be or how it looks. When I do this runway, it's going to be a self-expression of what I think fashion looks like, or something, an emotion I'm trying to evoke through clothes and the way it's stitched, the way it's kind of weaved down. You know, those kind of things. I think sometimes you can't express the emotions you want to say in words or like in action. And I think putting it out in fashion is a way to kind of do it, whether it's painting or clothes. In terms of art, it's something that I think most of us here have kind of practiced over time now. Because like I said, most of us, we did say our own backgrounds. We didn't start in any of this. We had our own difficulties getting into where we are now. And I think because we've gone through that, we can kind of express things that we weren't able to express before through these things we're doing now. And I think that's what kind of makes us unique, because our own experiences are something that only we went through to truly understand that you have to go through that person's, footsteps. And no one can really walk in your own, steps unless they're you. And I think that's what will help us express our own work, whether it's music, poetry, that we're gonna do for the show Fringe. Don't forget it on Sunday. I think that's, for me, that's the only way I'm gonna be able to express it through my clothes and the way sometimes I might have felt that I wasn't able to express while I was just studying, trying to be a lawyer, that kind of thing. And I'm truly thankful to like fashion and Isaac and stuff as well, because like you said before, these little shows that they started kind of putting on kind of allows people who are like in a shell kind of come out and be like, okay, this is a supportive place. I can kind of express this through music, dance, poetry, fashion.
It's so interesting. You speak as if you have this abstract idea in like a different dimension, and you're trying to bring it into reality through all these different forms that you can figure out. And all you're trying to do is try to get the world to understand, I have this vision. How can I get you to see it?
I think that's really what fashion is. It's like your own mind try to actualize and put it into something tangible, something you can see and touch or feel, whether it's a song or something else, And I think, like you just said, I think that's something far away that someone else can't see, that only you can envision. And the only way to truly put it out there is to just make it tangible.
That's great.
Yeah.
What about you guys? I'll just repeat the question.
Can I go next? Like mine's short.
Yeah,
go. What have you realized about yourself?
What have you realized
about
me?
yourself? It's just the way I see life overall, to be honest. Like before, like one.
Oh, sorry. Like, was there a moment when
a moment
when you feel that creativity hit you and you're like, oh damn, I can, you know what I mean? Okay, continue the way you're going.
I know, you just blocked it.
It's a hard question. Like, there's too many moments type, so like it's hard to. But remember when walking up and I was like, oh, look at the birds like flying into that.
That's a good
stuff.
shot. Like
3 years ago, I would have not even thought of it. Like I would have not even looked up and like thought like, oh my, that's such a good shot. Like it's just like the way I see life now. It's just like I see eye and everything basically.
That's amazing. Yeah, wow.
It's like if I had my camera right now, like even this morning I saw birds flying and I was like, I could literally capture this right now.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It's weird.
That's
it's
really
weird but good. Like,
it's
like I was blind before, but now it's like my eyes are like
true.
Yeah, that's real.
That's crazy.
That's real.
Even nature too. I never really cared about nature. I was like, oh, these are just trees. Like, but now when I see like trees and a lake next to it, I'm like, damn.
It's crazy.
Jeez.
It's
crazy.
Absolutely, that's so important.
Yeah. Oh, so like for me, just thinking about it, it's like, with Phoenix, the whole thing came from like, the Harry Potter scene where the Phoenix burns up in flames and then like it's reborn in those same flames. And there was like, there was a time where like everything was just like crazy and it really felt like life was like just in flames. Like, I think that was, it was just a rough time and stuff. And then like, I was in my room and I'm just like thinking, I'm just like, damn, it really does feel like everything's burning. And then that kind of just came into my head. The scene came into my head, like, oh, maybe I can, in a sense, be like reborn from this moment. I'm going to take this moment and then just create, like just go into it. I don't have to feel the way that I was feeling. And then that came through that, like, the scene that was created by someone who thought of a mythical creature that could be, reborn through flames. Like that's just creativity and its whole thing. So from there, it kind of became like, I just started seeing things a bit different. It's like, okay, you can actually decide what you want to do. And even if it doesn't work out and it burns to the ground, you can go again and again and again and again. It's like an endless cycle. And then I started kind of just thinking like,
you only fail when you give up.
Yeah, literally. And then the city, like I just see the city around me, like Adelaide was not getting the recognition or like it was just not being seen in the same light as all these other cities. And I'm just
really
like
passionate about Adelaide.
Yeah, bro, me, I'm number one, like Adelaide, like, you know what I mean?
He places Adelaide on
because man, like, like who are you to judge our city when you don't live here? You live in a city with more people, with more opportunities, and you can do this thing and just go crazy in like whatever time it is. So it's just like, why can't we do it here? And I'm just trying to get it through people's heads. Like, you can just do it. Like, you know, if you're famous in your city, you're famous in your city. Like, you're done. If you're not traveling the world every single day, you're in that city most of your life, really.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you're doing your creative work, and basically everyone in that city knows about your creative work. Why are you going to look outside for someone to say, oh my God, what you're doing is so good, like, here's a prize or whatever? If you're making $100 million in Adelaide being an actor, do you want to go to Hollywood and do that? Like, no, like, I'm chilling, like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I feel like the culture is going to slowly like grow and then change, and then that's what's going to happen.
Wow, you're a visionary.
Yeah, he is.
Trust. But like, yeah, man, that's the moment that like creativity, I guess, like sparked in me.
I mean, this building and this
Yeah.
this renovation into Lot 14 was developed on that exact mindset.
Yeah.
They
You see?
saw a
Trust.
future.
Bring me
and
that
they-
guy.
And they brought in this money
Yeah.
because like this place is just for the future.
Yeah.
And just in case you guys don't know, so we have like obviously you have University of Adelaide,
Yeah.
and all the unis here, which you know people that go to uni
Yeah.
to develop, you know, study, but then also a lot of people start companies.
Yeah.
And so then we have I can't believe I forgot the name. There's the like right where the business school is for University of Adelaide, Think Lab.
Yeah.
And so that's the incubator. So it's like
Yeah.
companies with zero money,
Yeah.
but they'll give them all the resources to start something.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they start getting a little bit of money, they'll come here.
Yeah.
And then they grow up here
Yeah.
until they have a lot of money and they get out. So
Yeah.
like Adelaide is literally built for innovation. Like
Yeah.
the only place in Australia.
Yeah.
So like all these startups are like
Yeah.
live here
Yeah.
because they're like, we're gonna start stuff out of Adelaide. It's incredible if you dig into it how much of the world's value
Yeah.
has been added from Adelaide
Yeah.
compared to its population is insane.
It's crazy.
Like the people here are just there's a subculture of just
Yeah. The people here are amazing and
amazing,
talented,
yeah.
and they have the capacity to do what they do, but they also have to believe that they can do it.
Yeah.
And then as well, the city has to help, like, this is where I'm talking about the governments and stuff
Yeah.
like that, help incubate those
Correct.
thoughts and everything, like what's happening here. So imagine if it's happening not just in the city, but you travel down south,
Yeah.
and then you got another Think Lab down
Yeah,
south.
exactly.
So now you're tapping all those kids. You go to the north, you have all those kids. You go to the west, east, you have all those kids
Yeah.
as well.
you,
So
you
it's
know what
like-
you know what it's like?
Yeah.
It's like it's like if Adelaide was like the youngest sibling out of like a family with 5 siblings.
Yeah.
And so its whole life he's tried to work extra hard to try to kind of even like
Get on the same
get
level.
some
Yeah.
attention. But then once all of them grow up,
Yeah.
the one that's most successful is the youngest one because they've had to work the hardest too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like we're growing up now.
Literally, it's
We're
coming,
getting-
man.
we're
It's getting
it's
there.
coming.
Yeah.
I see you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have one last question before they die of laughter.
yeah. Hey. Nah, crying is crazy, bro.
That was great.
What was crazy? What happened? The kids? Oh, like a kid here.
The way you said it.
It was great.
You said,
Keep going.
and I having all those kids. And
Oh, you're wild, bro.
That's
You're
great.
wild.
That definitely
Okay, yeah. No, my God.
Wow. Anyway,
Last question.
Last question, okay? Obviously, being creative, as you guys have said, can be a career, can be more than just a hobby. But there are a lot of people that are not creative, that do just do a 9 to 5, and that don't take the time to express themselves creatively. So I want you guys to answer what you think. What kind of value will that person gain to their own lives? And what's the best reason that they should start expressing themselves creatively? Go ahead.
Okay, so this kind of links to the last question in a sense. I feel like my journey with creativity was a little bit different to well, obviously everyone's journey is different, but I feel like for me, art was definitely more of a like mental health, finding myself, like more of a, I don't know how to explain it, like not an escape really, but more something that like no one else could take from me. Yeah, like it was something that I knew that no matter what happened in life, whether I was happy, whether I was sad, whether I was doing bad in life or I was doing good in life, like art was always there. There was always a way that like, even me, like for example, like getting up in the morning, putting on an outfit, like that's me doing something. Like, you know, like that's me finding value in like at least I've done that today. Like, you know, even if everything else goes wrong in the day, it's like, damn, at least my fit was tough, you know, like, you know, like that's the thing. It's like finding those small things and finding happiness in those small things. And I feel like art is like the best way to do that. Like, obviously it's better to find 5 little things that you can do in a day than like 3 massive things that you feel like have to change your whole life. And obviously if you're working a 9 to 5, like you don't want to be, you know, you don't have, I guess, a lot of energy and time to be making big differences in your life to like, you know, that's more effort. But it's like finding like happiness in the smaller things. You gradually see that like completely change your life. Like for me, it was the consistency of like, even if I'm not going anywhere like crazy, say I'm just hanging out with my friends, like actually putting on an outfit that I like, that's either out of my comfort zone or something I haven't worn before or something that like, you know, just experimenting with my creativity. That was one, like a small thing that brought me happiness to then like in the evening, like just drawing, whether it's like actually working on a proper piece or just like scribbling something in my journal. Like even if I just drew a smiley face that day, it's like I did something and that would make me happy that like, yeah, I drew yesterday and like maybe that inspired me to do something today. But the thing, yeah, it's like small things and finding happiness in those small things. Gradually that changes your life a lot. Like Martin said, ages ago, he wouldn't have seen that sort of thing, like the birds or the way that nature looks and stuff like that. I feel like, me personally, I think nature's like the most ideal and beautiful place to find art and to find creativity and stuff like that, like personally. So it's like, yeah, small things like that, like finding or looking for art in things that normally you'd look at and just kind of dismiss.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like that can really change your perspective and the way you see life. And also from an artistic perspective, because even my poetry, my writing, before I actually started looking into the world and actually started trying to find the beauty in things that I would dismiss before, because I did, when I was younger, I did have a much more negative mindset. I was the same. I didn't really look at the trees and was like, wow, like, you know? So yeah, it's just things like that, like finding happiness and finding art, like actually actively going to look for art. Like even if you work a 9 to 5, it's like, I work a lot, I can't lie. I don't work a 9 to 5, but like I do work a lot. But it's like in the evening, there's always like for example, like Soul Lounge and stuff, like poetry nights and stuff, they're like in the evening. They don't end too late, so you can wake up for work the next day. But like actively going out and looking for things that, if you like art and you want to find value in art, it's like there is actually a lot of things that you can kind of like look for and you will find that will bring you that happiness and get you more into the art scene. Even if it's like once a month, like you know, you're going somewhere that's like art invoking. Eventually you go for a walk one day and you see art everywhere.
I think that sounds really good. But like really quickly before you go on, and this is maybe for all of you, how do you get away from your phone?
You put it down.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like consistency and self-discipline.
It's easy, but like it's easy because it is easy. Like once you put your phone down, you can just leave it there and then go like thinking continue.
About it,
but,
like thinking it. That's what I'm saying. Like thinking it. That makes sense, right? Yeah. Thinking. Thank you. Thinking of it as like a massive thing you have to change in your day is just going to make it harder for you to do it, if that makes sense. Like there's things on your phone that help you with that. Like for me, I have a sleep mode thing where like I can't access certain apps or things after a certain amount of time. It's like, that's what I'm saying. There's things out there, unless you look for it, it's not like,
has that helped?
It's not gonna, I'm not the best at like, I'm still learning. I'm still, you know, there are times where, don't get me wrong, there'll be nights where I'm up 2 a.m. just scrolling through TikTok or something like that. But in general, just the trying of it is like, definitely. Like, and also the consistency and discipline of it. Sorry, the consistency of it, like telling yourself, okay.
Please continue. Consistency?
Yeah, but pretty much like, you know, once you put your phone down, find something to do like straight away in that moment, and then try to just get lost in it. Like whether it's like talking to your friend in real life or you go for a drive and then just like, you go read or watch a movie. Like, I know it's kind of like, you know,
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, you're
because
switching it up, but
I
like,
think we have an attention span problem.
yeah, absolutely.
Right? I feel like it's so much harder to get through a movie now than it used to be when I was a
Oh
kid.
yeah,
Like a movie is an hour and a half, like
Yeah.
2 hours, crazy. Like,
yeah.
but low-key
But then
movies
it's
aren't
like
as
you
good
can be on
anymore.
TikTok
Yeah.
for an hour and 2 hours.
and you
know
feel
what I
like
mean?
you've gone through more.
Yeah,
And so, like,
Exactly.
art
That's why
is
you
the
watch so long.
slowest form of entertainment possible.
art.
Art.
But then you're on TikTok, you're watching someone's art.
I guess
Yeah.
you're right.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, but that's you can say that because art is everywhere. So
Yeah.
it's easy to be like,
but it really
Oh,
is.
yeah.
It really is.
it
Everywhere.
really is. But the thing is, you guys are so
What?
annoying.
Wait, what?
But the thing is, yeah, like he was saying, doing things that you enjoy doing, and even though it's like sucks to say, but like forcing yourself, because at the start you're like
Why does
forcing
that suck to
yourself.
say? It's accurate.
No, but like obviously no one
I
wants to
agree.
think about
No,
like
force
forcing
themselves. Force yourself
Yeah,
to do
force
better.
yourself,
Also,
because discipline,
Make your
exactly.
friends
Like at
go
the
for a
start,
run,
at the
join a
start,
club,
it's gonna
go
like,
play soccer, go boxing, go do something.
yeah.
Pick up
At
the
the-
camera,
you-
bro. You might like.
You pick up a camera. Yeah, that's
at
where
the
you're going
start,
to.
it's gonna seem like
appeal.
annoying, but the thing is, eventually, because sorry,
No, continue,
No, no,
bro. I don't know, like,
Yeah,
bro. Yeah,
I'm listening.
so annoying.
yeah.
Yeah, because even with me, like the whole like phone before bed was a big problem for me. And I was like, I used to force myself to read, and there were nights where I would literally be like, oh, God, I just want to just. TikTok is just so much more entertaining before bed. Like I can
Yeah.
just. Whereas now, like I look forward to going home and reading before bed. Like you know, eventually, like you get to a point where it's like.
I'm
you
not
know?
there yet, but I want to be.
Yeah, no, obviously reading might not be the thing that
No, but I
you know,
wanna
like
be.
I
It's
have a
just-
friend that like stretches every day before bed, and at the start it was genuinely out of like discipline of like for the sport need to become
Sorry,
more
sport
flexible.
of stretching. Oh, sorry.
No, like
Okay.
for their sport.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whereas now it's like that's something that they really like enjoy doing,
Yeah.
like just rewinding, like stretching right before bed, and it's like they're ready for bed and not on their phone and stuff. And
You
it's
know,
like,
I did. Sorry, but like real quick, you know, if you're home and you have people at home, give someone your phone for 1 hour, and then just be like, "Don't give this to me."
Wow.
or both of you could
Literally.
put your phones away and just talk to each
You know
other.
what I mean?
now
Like,
before bed.
yeah, or just you know, like, I feel like just play a quick game, like was it a cards game or Jenga or something? You know, like that would take that time.
Yeah.
Say, hey man, I like, or you know, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, whatever. Give the phone to them and be like, just don't give this back to me for 1 hour.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so effective and so
That is.
quick.
You
and
know,
then you can slowly get into it, and then now you'll be like, oh, I had so much fun doing whatever it is that I don't really need my phone
Yeah.
like that.
Have you heard of a guy named Tim Ferriss?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 Hour Work Week.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that
Trust.
book?
Yeah.
You read it?
Yeah.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
You know what he does with his assistant where he well, I don't know. Not all of you might have read it, but what he does
Yeah.
with his assistant is he gets his assistant to reset all his social media passwords
Yeah.
every Monday and not tell him.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Tell me on Saturday."
Yeah.
So like every Saturday he has a new password and he
Yeah.
gets it texted to him, and then they can go on social media for 2 days.
I know that.
Literally.
But, yeah, so like
Yeah.
people, I think it's because like you said, like you can't really trust yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
Literally. It's like,
if it's there, I
yeah.
will go on.
It's like, what's the best way to
I've
save
had
money?
passwords for you, don't
Put it somewhere where you cannot touch it.
Yeah.
Give it to
Yeah.
your friend that lives in the bush, and then be like, "Oh, I need you to keep this $1,000 for me." And then it's like, just don't give it to me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You will have it there, like it will be there,
absolutely.
but you can't access it because he lives in, you know, wherever the hell he lives. But
That's
like,
so true.
yeah, make it as hard as possible to get to what you want to
Yeah, wow.
get to, and then that's how you'll stop getting to it because
you
you'll be
go.
like, "Let me chill."
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well,
Amazing. Yeah.
I think
he's
we're
about to
good.
wrap it up. Yeah.
But I'm just gonna wrap
Yeah.
it up. So I wanted to say like,
Yeah.
so usually what we do on here is the goal of this podcast is to try to get people to understand, like what do I want to do with my life, you know, and have I found fulfillment? Am I happy? So actually last week we had a lawyer on. So well, she's not a lawyer anymore. She also dropped law. Yeah, and she's an entrepreneur now. So she started a company called Frank Feedback. It's like it helps uni students get feedback better from their professors on their assignments. But
Trust.
look, I'm meeting so many interesting people. It's amazing. But ultimately it's the fact is, how can I add value to the world? How can I find fulfillment in what I do and be happy with it? And we've been so saturated with tech companies and like these entrepreneurs in like the science kind of way.
Yeah.
And seeing something different and hearing something different in the creative space
Yeah.
has been so like interesting to me because my brain just doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? And so I'm sure a lot of people will find this really, really inspiring. And thank you for your time.
Thank you for having us, mate.
Thanks for having us.